Splyce, they're a really aggressive European team. Pretty sure the best European team in the game.
The key to beating Evil Geniuses is not letting them have time, because they'll abuse the game mechanics and then they'll put it into their favor.
They just have Jared, which is a really aggressive player. Mad Cat is a veteran AR player. Bance is up and coming.
I think the outcome against Evil Geniuses would be either 3-0 or 3-1.
The difference maker versus Splyce would probably be Hardpoint. If we can pull out the first Hardpoint, I'm pretty sure we're going to close it out 3-0, 3-1.
Fantastic to hear from both of our two teams. Here's a look at our map set. Teep, I'm going to start with you. Is there anything which particularly kind of stands out? I mean, I know that Scorch Hardpoint map number 1, that was something Evil Geniuses were particularly good at in group stages.
Yeah, especially that was the map that sort of boosted their momentum. They started off really bad in that first day. They got those double Scorches on Saturday to really bounce them back in that group. So coming down to this one, both these teams loving Scorch. I think EG really needs to focus a lot on this first one, though. I think Splyce is too well-rounded on the rest of the game types and too consistent for EG to handle. So if they lose that Scorch, I think it's going to get out of hand for
Yeah, I agree with TP. I think it goes down to game 1. Whoever wins game 1 will take the series, in my opinion. The only other map that I see as a push right now is the Frost Uplink, where Splyce has the better record, but EG has been playing better stat-wise. So if they can get the correct kills in the right area and make the correct pushes, I think they will win the Frost Uplink.
And I know EG looked really scary on Scorch Hardpoint, but honestly, I think that's one of Splyce's best modes. I mean, they 100-point clubbed us on that map, and they held us on the second hill like 110-0.
That wasn't that hard.
Right, but
Let's not talk about that.
They're scary on that map, though. And I think if EG are coming out thinking like, all right, we got this game 1, it's our best map, I think they got another thing coming.
Fair enough. Well, excited to get the playoff action underway, and game 1 is moments away. We can send it out to our fabulous casters for the series. It's Momo and Puckett.
Thank you so much, and it is awesome to have Proofy, TP, and Aches all sitting side by side. I remember watching my very first Call of Duty tournament for MLG. They're all on the same team back in the Leverage days.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, they belong together. You can see the chemistry on stage as well with themselves. However, the players on the main stage right now, I'm getting excited for. Of course, it's Splyce, the European brethren.
Yes.
You know, I'm a little bit too excited for these, but EG, they're a force to be reckoned with when they're on point.
Now, we were looking at some numbers here between Evil Geniuses and Splyce and looking at the best game modes for both teams. When it comes to Hardpoint, you can't ask for a better map than Scorch. Both teams were perfect on it throughout groups. Both teams are very confident, as you heard in the pre-match interviews. But if you look at the statistics, you dive a little bit deeper, and you notice that there's a big difference in how they got their wins. When Evil Geniuses won, they were doing it by about 25 points. 250 to around 225. When Splyce did it, it was 250 to 140 on average. They blow opponents out. If you're not rotating properly, they will burn you. We've seen how strong Mad Cat and Bance could be as the last members alive.
Yeah, talking to those two players, actually, Mad Cat and Bance, these are two, notorious slayers. If you get those two firing on all cylinders, especially on a map like Scorch, you're absolutely right. This is where they can turn it around. The desk actually said that this is where this series, ends almost with map 1. Whoever takes this could go on. I think they're really, really spot on with that, because going to the later stages, you've got Frost, Uplink. I do heavily favor, the likes of Splyce on that. But Evil Genius, they've been looking good at Search, and Splyce's weakest game mode.
Evil Geniuses, they need to win this first Hardpoint because we know they struggle if they have to go to map 4 on Retaliation. We're going to open things up with EG, and with the superstar from this team, it's Nameless, a guy that you saw getting the runners-up position back at COD Champs for Ghost. He's been a veteran playing alongside Study on and off. They are back together, and they are off to a hot start. It's all kills here for EG as they are the first on the scoreboard.
Yeah, just a really, really weird start, though. If you saw that top left there, all the Splyce, 3-on-1 split, 3 pushing around the back. No one challenged that middle, and EG have just torn them apart. Will they be able to bounce back, though? Bance on your screens will be rocking that ERAD. Interesting choice, because we don't usually see him using that. It's usually the K-bar.
Normally an assault rifle player. We've seen Splyce, though. They show their versatility on the weapon side. When you look at EG, though, normally you're going to see about 3 K-bars, maybe an ERAD in the hands of a guy like Nagafen. But for now, it looks like they're running 4 K-bars. They have total control, 40 unanswered points here on our center hardpoint. Finally, Splyce is going to break in. But you look at EG, Havoc just won the big transition kill. He's going to need 2 more. The rest of his teammates are off spawn, and he is in a tough position. It looked good for a moment for EG, but at the end of it all, it's Splyce coming out on top here to control the turbine.
And this is so crucial. Going into Turbine, it's that power hill, that money hill that we talk about, where a team can just dominate and control for a very lengthy amount of time. Nagafen will be trying to break in. Jerd and Havoc are going to trade kills there as well. Nagafen shut down. Splyce will keep control. And what I feel like Nameless needs to do here is slow down. He needs to wait for his team here. Otherwise, Splyce, they're going to run over him. They're going to get back into this.
Splyce did not seem to see that second push coming. Study's going to jump in, takes out Bance. He's inside. He's going to be scoring, and he is waiting for the push. He knows it's coming, but Zero outguns him. The fight's continuing, though, as Nagafen trades out Jerd, and you have Havoc in this back line ready to do damage. He's pulled out the K-bar, and he's looking for some headshots.
Mad Cat gets the double Havoc with 2 himself, and now this one-on-one will be split in that last 15 seconds, and it looks like it's going to go towards EG. Important thing about Scorch, though, you've got to focus on these rotations. You can really saturate a lot of the points, and so far, going into the next one, it looks like Splyce have the upper hand. However, Study behind enemy lines.
And Study is going to try and lock in these spawns. Splyce is inside scoring, but big props to EG. You're opening 120 seconds. They put 67 points on the board. That is a ridiculously fast start here on Scorch. Nameless on your screen is going to get the first pick on Jerd. They're trying to pinch on Bance up at the hallway, but the hold so far from Splyce, well, it looked good for a moment. Now they're all falling at the hands of Havoc. He picks up 2. Study's going to clean up the last one as Nagafen got the intro kill. So just like that, EG, they flip the spawns. They have total control.
And this is what you want to see from EG. Not sitting back. They're pushing out. They're taking the fight to Splyce, and this will benefit them. You can see Havoc. He's on a bit of a tear now, making a 5-kill streak after being shut down by Mad Cat. I'm not sure if he did unlock any of his kill streaks there. We'll have to wait up until he spawns. But again, EG, they have come out dominant here in the first 3 hardpoints.
And you look at the numbers on the other side, Zero just to 3 kills. He's kind of notorious for having slow starts at some of his hardpoint games. Not normally seeing it here on Scorch, but there he is picking up a big kill on Havoc. They will be set up for the drill first. Nagafen and friends all going to try and attack from the same side. Mad Cat cuts down Study, but Nameless is there to trade, and here comes EG. As we see, though, it's going to be nothing but yellow in the kill feed. Bance is going to hold down the fort. Zero is behind this cover. They are going to have a lot of time here to set up, because look at the spawns from EG. They're spread out all over the map.
Yeah, and I love just the way the directions you almost saw on the minimap, them all turn around. They notice that the spawns have changed. EG is going for a real kind of pinch here. Bance and Zero are going to trade 2-1. That does favor them. Another one-on-one goes in favor of EG, but Splyce, they remain in control of the drill. And you know what? 20 seconds left. It wouldn't surprise me. They take the whole 60 here.
Mad Cat on your screen once again is going to find the kill on Study. 15 points to go, and this is a perfect hard point for Splyce. They're about to tie up this game, basically, as we're going to see the hill rotate once again. The players are on the move. Bance moving to the center of the map. If he keeps going that direction, we'll find Havoc. Instead, he turns inside where he's outgunned by Nameless, the better weapon at that range.
Okay, well, Nameless, he had a fantastic week, obviously, during the stage 1, and so far he started strong. However, these last couple of minutes, I've seen him slip a little bit. Splyce are biting back now and getting back into this. We didn't see them do any damage here, Chris, in this middle hard point. This time, they're going to be going into it leading it.
And after a full rotation, you got Zero with 6 kills. Jerd just picked up his 7th. These 2 players are not known to really be at the bottom of the leaderboard. Look for both of them to heat up as this game goes on. They're going to need to if Splyce wants to stay competitive. For now, EG holding on to a 13-point advantage. It's going back and forth for control of the center, and at the end of this fight, it looks like Nameless with the double is going to come out on top. Everyone currently positive for EG. Splyce getting outslayed here in a game 1. They need to wake up.
Yeah, they really do. The one thing they have going for them is this rotation. We talked about Turbine before. They have this perfect setup right now. It's theirs to lose. There's no streaks in play. There's no payloads abilities at this point, but Nagafen, he's going to strike first. Zero answering back, and now these next couple of kills are crucial.
That one makes it a 2-on-2. Nameless and Nagafen going to try and group up and attack from the top. Waiting for him on the other end, it's Mad Cat flying through the air. Mad Cat takes down Nameless, untouched. Bance is going to find Study, and Jerd will clean up Havoc. Nagafen flies through, but it's Jerd's E-Rad with the 2-piece that will lock in this hill. 36 points still to score, and this could be the first time that we'll see Splyce take the lead.
It really is. And look at Zero pushing straight out, as well as Mad Cat. They're both going to be taken down, and now a 2v4. Those last 30 seconds, they may have just thrown them away a little bit, but can Bance and Jerd do anything different? Bance going to pick up one. Jerd finding another melee specialty at this point in time, but you can see Bance is contesting this time, and those 30 seconds, he's only actually going to give away 15.
And now you see the setup here from your yellow arrows. They have a player in the center. That's going to be Zero. He's picking up his first kill on Havoc. The bottom fight, though, was won by Study. So Study's going to try and wrap around all the way. That's what EG did on the first attack. This time around, though, it looks like the work is getting done at Skybridge. As I say it, Zero comes flying through. Both Nameless and Havoc getting caught off guard. And that will stall out EG. Splyce continues to hold. Are they finally going to do it now, Phil?
My question right now is, this is a tie game. If this wasn't such a heavily dominant start from Evil Genius, Splyce has had that rotation time and time again. But EG, they're pushing through, they're breaking it. Splyce, if they can hold a rotation, a full 60 seconds, they can run away with this game. And to be honest, this could be the time to do it. But Havoc with a two-piece there.
Havoc causing problems, but it's Bant still inside scoring, and he is going to pick up the kill there on Havoc. Madcap finds Study at the front door. It's all Splyce. Only one challenger at the balcony, and Bant is going to make quick work of him. Nagafen going to take a nap and wake up on the other side of the map. The drill is about to be fought for, and you see the opening fights going in favor of Nagafen and Study. Splyce, they're going to have to rotate together to break.
Yeah, Splyce needs to go and I think you've got Jerd right at the bottom there, and they need to wait for a team push if you like. The Scarab's just going to go past Banter. Has spotted him, but he's running anyway. This is where we're going to see payloads come into this bucket. We're going to see the camos. We're going to see those reactive armors. When they use them, we'll have to wait and see, but Splyce still in the lead by 30 points.
And here comes that camo you talked about. Vance is just one kill away from it. Not going to happen this fight. Madcat going to be the next one into an engagement. As you see, Nameless for Evil Geniuses is currently set up in the defensive position. Two players will be flooding through. Nameless just shooting some toes, getting out with his life, stalling out the opposition. Now the kill's starting to come in favor of Splyce, so they send two men on the high wall run, and they all four survive. Havoc, last one up, is going to get executed. It is once again a Splyce hill.
Yeah, a nice break there, but could it be a little bit too late? There's only 10 seconds. They will be rotating back to the middle bridge. First time we saw this, EG dominated Splyce. They took it the second time round, but this is the one where it counts, this third time on this middle hard point.
So you have three players spawning on the right side of the map. The key player is player 2, Study. Study was on a flank, had 3 people lined up, picks up the first 2 before being traded out by Jerd. And that will open things up for EG. They retake control of the center. Bant's coming off spawn, though, has reinforcements. You see Madcat and Zero right away, just answering back, retaking control. Splyce has woken up in this second half. They have the payloads to work for, as well as some score streaks for Bant in just a few moments.
And you said Zero started slow. He's definitely caught up with himself now. He is still a little bit negative, but those later rounds, those later kills, if you like, they are really showing dividends. This next rotation could be key, and you can see in your top left-hand corner, Splyce, they're thinking ahead. They're going for the turbine.
Bant did get stopped short, so no scarab for him. Very few score streaks involved in our game number 1. This game is tight right now, just 20 points separating the two teams. Bance with the 2-piece is going to try and set up in the back, but you have EG there first. All 4 players. Can Splyce break through? No. It's traded out 3-1. Splyce has to regroup and try again.
Wow, what does Splyce have? They have active camo. I believe that's the only thing coming in from Bance. He needs to utilize it. Does he use it now? I think this is a time, maybe a pinch coming in, because we do see one player spawning out.
Bance definitely should pop this camo here. Actually, they just cleaned up 3. Last one's inside. Bance could save this camo, and they could still win on this hill. They need just 17 points. EG gonna send in one at a time. That strategy not working so far. They lose the early pick. Now grouping up, they're gonna try and make one last push here, but they're running out of time. 6 seconds to go here for Splyce. 4 points remain. EG comes through. It's 3 kills, 2 for Havoc. Nagafen is gonna pop the camo and find another, but at the end, it's Jerd. A 2-piece locks it down and wins the game as Splyce comes back big. Players took a moment to wake up there, Momo. It took me a minute as well, but here's the play from Jerd. Jumping up and down behind this power box. He's able to hit the shots, picks up 2 kills, and locks in the final 3 points as Splyce steals game number 1.
Yeah, and I think it was a really wise play. Bance was holding on to that camo, and, you know, did he need to use it? Not necessarily when they got control of it. We arguably could have said he may have used it in those last 5 points that they needed, but he got jammed. He couldn't do anything. He dies. I'm thinking, no problem. They can take it over to the next one. Jerd sweeps in with a 2-piece and cleans that map up, but we talked about it before that game. Splyce have been dominated on that map. They're now perfect on it through, obviously, all, you know, the week that they played.
Stage 1?
They beat every team on that map. Now they take it to the playoffs, still undefeated on that. But that was a lot closer than I thought it would be.
And, you know, the good thing to look at there was Mad Cat and Bance from the get-go. They were there. They were showing up. They were getting the kills. Then you saw Jerd turn up in the second half. Zero got his kills that they needed. And Jerd made the big play. At the end of it all, he won that final hill for them. He sealed the game, didn't give themselves a chance to lose it on the next hard point. So props to Splyce here. They open up 1-0 in the best of 5. They win the hard point. But now we go to Search and Destroy. Their worst game mode in week 1. They won just 42% of their searches.
It really has been, you know, the story of Splyce, if you like. We go back to CWL Birmingham, and, you know, this is, you know, against the European teams, which definitely aren't up to the caliber of teams that are here today. And, you know, by all means, you know, they are 42% in week 1. They weren't great, obviously, over in Birmingham either. They were going through and just winning off their respawns. So this is where I worry for Splyce. However, they did what they needed to do and take map 1. They've got Uplink coming up next. If for any reason they do take this Search and Destroy, they could start off with a hot 3-0, I think.
And if you look at the numbers here for Search and Destroy, my player to watch is definitely going to be Nagafen. He's your lone sniper here. Crusher is a map. You can definitely pull out the sniper, watch that mid lane. We'll see if Nagafen chooses to use that on the other side. We've seen a number of strategies from Splyce on Crusher, but I expect them to kind of go back to using that 4-man group up where they all try and hit the same bomb site at once.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the great thing about Splyce is they're not afraid to change things up. You know, if they're going to stick together, yeah, it might be hidden B or hidden A or whatever it does. But we see teams time and time again, every offense round, they will hit B on Crusher. They'll do the same strategy. Splyce are a team that, you know, out of nowhere, they'll push 4 through the middle and cut inside 2A. They'll really change things up if it's not working for them. But yeah, they've got to watch out for Nagafen and that sniper. It'll be interesting to see if they put them on the back foot.
Who's your favorite player to watch on Splyce when it comes to Search?
Most entertaining for sure. I've got to go with Zero.
Going with Zero, that guy right there?
Right there. In his polka dot Adidas. He's looking all nice and flashy there.
He's got a pink controller, a sparkly shirt. This man, he's got flair.
He likes to stand out, and he certainly does on Search and Destroy, that's no doubt. But apart from that, you've got to favor each for different game modes. But when it comes to Search and Destroy, it wouldn't surprise me if Zero pulls out a sniper rifle.
Zero, really?
You might think, you know what, whatever Nagafen can do, I can do better.
I would love to see that. Now, Zero, of course, is going to be your camo player in all game modes for this Splyce roster. On the other side, Nagafen runs it in the respawn. But talking with Nameless, he said, you know, we made a decision after a few early practices with the team where I'm going to have it in Search and Destroys. So Nameless is going to be a key player to look at. Nagafen as well is going to take a more passive role in the sniping position. Havoc is going to be that guy trying to get the intro kills, and it's going to be Study watching a few flanks sometimes. He's going to be the one just filling in the gaps, as Nameless likes to say.
It's a job which people might not see as the flashiest job to do, but it has to be done. You know, you've got to have a player which can do the dirty work on your team, and whether that's sitting back and watching a flank, you've got to cover all bases. And talking of bases, this is the site where you will see a lot of the action going down, a lot of the payloads being used, whether it's your reactive or your camos. But I definitely think that you'll see a couple of A pushes towards Splyce, and that's where, to be honest, I think they do the best. You know, they push in, they've got those very aggressive players, the likes of Jerd and Bance up in your face. That is not what you want to happen if it's EG.
And you saw the difference maker at the end of that Scorch hardpoint. It was the ERADs winning the gunfights at short range. So knowing EG, they love the long-range ARs. Could that be a weakness over at the A bomb site? To open things up here, we're with Nagafen, and he's got the sniper early on. Doesn't see anyone yet, but doesn't know it. There's a player behind the bus. It's going to be Mad Cat laying down low. The bomb is making its way towards the bottom half of the mini-map. Meanwhile, Zero is in the far back watching his teammates flank.
Now, whether Splyce have done a little bit of research, I would hope they have on their, obviously, player teams, and that's got to be a close snipe coming in from Nagafen. They may have anticipated EG to go for a push or a flank, but first blood is drawn, and Bance bites the dust.
I love the flick shots here from Nagafen. He just swipes that stick over to the right, connects on Bance, but Jerd is there to trade out, picks up the kill. Nagafen hit with the jammers. That throws off his shot, keeps the teammate alive for Splyce, and now they are in position to put this bomb down. All 3 players grouped up. They didn't see Nagafen's feet, but they get all 3 kills in 2 seconds anyway.
That's aggression at its finest. They started slow, but when they took down that one player, it was Nameless, I believe, and they started the push, they knew exactly where Nagafen was. He can't sit around and start no-scoping everyone. They put the pressure on. They get up close and personal. Fantastic round for Splyce.
And did you see the shots from Mad Cat? Did not miss a bullet on those 2 players at the end. Jerd the bait, Mad Cat the punisher. It's Splyce with your opening round. And you have to keep your eyes on Nameless here. He's going to be the bomb carrier. They want to give him the plants as often as possible. That's going to help him get to his camo. Instead, Jerd opens up with a triple. Nagafen trying to chase him down is going to find 2. Somehow Nagafen has made this go from a 1v4 to a 1v2. He has the bomb. This is totally possible still.
This is absolutely possible, and don't get me wrong, as a player yourself, you think after being in a 1v4, we can't let this happen. Nagafen using the emotes there, and he's going to try and make the first move towards creating this 1v4 even more possible.
Jerd did such a phenomenal job flying through with the ERAD, picks up 3 opening kills. Yet your bomb still gets planted here in round number 2, the first attacking round for Nagafen, and he has to defend the bomb versus 2 opponents. Mad Cat's been spotted, knows the cover is coming. Zero will find him. Easy to fuse for Splyce. They played that perfectly in the 2v1.
2 rounds back to back where, you know, they've stuck as a team, they've pushed the pressure points, if you like, and when they find him, they punish him once again. And Splyce, I almost think after that 3-piece from Jerd, they maybe should have, you know, finished it a little bit cleaner, but they got the job done once again.
Solid play through and through. A second gunfight won in the back of the map here by Splyce, as this time it's Zero with the kill. Nagafen talking over the strats on defense with the team. Is he going to pull out the sniper for the second time in a row? Splyce, they went B, a very slow push to B last time around. Nagafen was able to pick Bance, but Splyce still won the rush at the very end.
It really does feel like Splyce has done their homework, because this is not what I'm used to seeing from Splyce, this slow, methodical gameplay. However, going in, pedal to the metal there, Zero and Mad Cat find 2. And again, the numerical advantage does favor Splyce. Study and Nameless do back off. It looks like they're trying to regroup.
Look out for player number 6. Study is looking for an intro kill. Meanwhile, you have Nameless slowly positioning on the flank. There is Study, pick 0. So this makes it a 2-on-2 for EG. Study will fall, though. Mad Cat picking up that one.
That's such an important kill. They stick together. That time they don't know, and now a 1v1 Bance versus Nameless. We've got 25 seconds left on the clock, yet to be defused, though. And now, in a bit of a sticky situation, it's got to come down to the 1v1, stuck in a corner, and Bance comes off better.
And I'll be interested to see if Nameless goes back to the K-bar after that round. You saw him moving in with the NV4 here. It does more damage at range, but up close, prefer to have that faster fire rate of the K-bar. And you see Bance with the SMG, able to get the kill.
Yeah, Bance, such a versatile player. Again, you talk about, you know, an all-rounder and, you know, this new generation of Call of Duty where you can't just be one person who does one role. You've got to be able to be diverse, and that's Bance in a nutshell.
Here comes the EG squad. Meanwhile, you have Splyce all over the B bomb site. They're about to run into each other. FTL jump keeps Jerd alive, and now he's got teammates in support. They're all going to swipe in at once. And it looks like Jerd is going to choose to pull out the score streaks. Here comes the Scarab, picks up the kill on an injured Nameless. And now the Flood. You're up a man. You have total control of the bomb site. Chase down the opposition. It looks like their heads have come about them as Splyce is going to back up, all 4 running together, holding hands. The first player they could spot is Havoc, who is waiting in the middle of the map.
Yeah, they're like a pack of wolves right now, and that's what I mean about Splyce changing things up. You know, they've been very slow on the attacking rounds, but on that defense, they use that FTL to their advantage. But one player coming from behind, Jerd once again standing out, 6-2, I believe now, on a 2-kill streak, 3-0 already. Well, 25 seconds, EG on the back foot.
I think we have the best observer in the game right now. Aches crushing it, stays on board with Jerd, has confidence he's able to get the kill, goes over to Study for the double, and that's going to be it for Study. No more after that. A perfect 4-0 start here for Splyce.
And I believe he's just given the defuse towards Jerd as well, probably working towards that FTL once more. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets it again. The worrying thing is now for EG is they were a team which, honestly, I thought they may be able to take Splyce on Search and Destroy. It was their weakest game mode for Splyce, and this is where I thought this may go, you know, the longevity of this series. And by the way Splyce are performing, it just seems like they've done their homework, like I've said time and time again on EG, and they're reading like a book. I want more from EG.
Man. They look flustered. This is supposed to be your best game mode, or I guess statistically your second best, but you're known for your search. 0-4, not the way they were hoping to start on Crusher, and now you see Jerd flying through the air. He's going to find Havoc. There's just not enough support. Study gets a big grenade, though, takes down Zero and Jerd, and Nameless finds Bance. So just like that, they turn the table, and this one goes in favor of EG. Down 3. Can they start a rally right here?
It was a must-win round, and you know what? By the way that they're playing, they definitely can. They need to start working as a team more, because what Splyce are doing is they're just trading kills. That's all what Call of Duty is about. You know, you've got to be there to back your teammates up, and I feel that Splyce are just trading more efficiently right now. If EG can go toe-to-toe with that, they definitely have that raw talent, that natural skill to win this.
You saw Nameless making the play call. Here comes the bomb in the hands of Evil Geniuses. The attack, it's going to the bottom of the map. Meanwhile, you see those yellow arrows. They're looking, they don't see anybody. Now they're pushing more aggressive than ever, trying to get on a quick flank. A bit spread out, though, is Zero. He is at the very back, checking every single corner. Now they know where the position is going to be. Mad Cat will wait for his teammates to distract and then try and push in. And Bance is going to pull a stun. He picks up both kills there with the grenade. And just like that, it's Zero and Mad Cat. Basically the exact opposite of what we saw in round number 5. This is going to put Splyce up 5-1.
Yeah, the perfect pinch comes in, and Mad Cat finds himself in a very favorable position. A nice, easy kill. You've got to feel, though, Havoc right now, 0 and 6. We're going into potentially the last round of this Search and Destroy game. He's not picked up a kill. He's a player, not only, you know, EG is a team notorious for Search and Destroy, but he is that S&D god. You know, he's the one that starts those flashy plays, picks those first bloods.
And I think the big difference here is it's Jerd getting the best of him. When you look at the setups, Havoc is the farthest up-pushed player.
Yep.
He is going to be that first line of attack or defense. On the other side, it's Jerd who is constantly just hitting the wall runs, jumping at him with the K-bar and winning the gunfights. Here's a 4-man stack. All 4 players from Splyce are going to be pushing up. You see the Centurion has been thrown down by Mad Cat. That is going to zap anyone trying to run by. Jerd going to fall at the hands of Nagafen, but Zero picks up 2 kills. It makes it a 2-on-2.
And look at them. They've turned around straight away. The Centurions pick one up, and they know it. They're closing them down. Havoc read like a book. That's going to be 0 and 7 for them. Splyce should be able to close this. Very well played. And Zero, he still has his payload.
0 kills for Havoc. Zero, he's got a reactive here. And what is going to be the final play?
Uh-oh, reactive use, 6-1.
Zero clutching up big here. We've seen Zero making so many camo plays, now doing it with the reactive. As Splyce is swapping things up in their Search and Destroy, a massive win here on Crusher. That puts them on match point after just 2 games. Splyce handedly putting their opponent against the wall.
Yeah, Splyce there for me. Again, I didn't expect it to be that close on Hardpoint. I didn't expect it to be that close, that dominant, sorry, on Search and Destroy. I thought EG was going to take that S&D and, you know, go toe-to-toe and make this uplink a little bit more interesting. But Splyce, they've come here to win this playoff. They're not just coming here to settle for top 4 or top 2 or whatever it may be. I'm just worried, are we seeing the same EG as we did on day 1?
Now, this looks like the rough EG.
I think
hopefully we'll see the turned up day 2, day 3 EG that we saw earlier. For now, though, we have to take a quick break. When we return, we'll see can Splyce close out the sweep. Coming up next, it's Uplink on Frost. Welcome back to the CWL Global Pro League. This is the Stage 1 playoffs, the grand finals. After all the group stages, now we have $500,000 up for grabs and just 8 teams left in the competition. This is our first match of the day, and if you're just joining us, we watched Splyce start off slow in the Hardpoint, but they came back stronger than ever to close out our first map on Scorch. When it went to Search and Destroy, though, this was a one-sided affair. It was all Splyce, despite the number of first bloods we saw out of Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, Splyce have really kind of utilized, the payloads a lot better. We saw reactive being used by Zero very, very well. In Hardpoint, we saw the camo play obviously not being able to be used. FTL was used by Jerd in the Search and Destroy as well, just to stay alive. I really like the way that they're playing this at the moment. They're playing with confidence, and I think that's what they need. Usually when it comes to these playoffs kind of times, we always see Splyce. They always say, oh, we've got drawn the short straw, we've got Optic first round. This time, they have no excuses.
This is the best bracket possible. If you're a Splyce fan, if you're a European fan, this is the only European team in the tournament left. You are hoping they can make a deep run on the bottom half, because the top half of that bracket so stacked. So starting here against EG, if you ask any of the experts, they'll probably say this is your best matchup in Splyce. They're taking advantage of it so far. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, EG, if you missed it, of course, during the playoffs, the week 1 to 4, they came top of their pool. No one expected it. And after starting 0-2, yeah.
Exactly, and Splyce, technically, they choked away their first seed to Envy. So ironically, this is kind of, turned in Splyce's favor. Envy is sitting over there thinking, oh no, we're on the tough side of the bracket, but it's the way it works, it's the way the cookie crumbles, and Splyce right now, they're 2-0 up. All smiles in the Splyce camp. And I know we've got a lot of Splyce fans, European fans watching back home who are really cheering these on. They want Europe to do well. They want to show that we can hang with these North Americans. And next up is coming into Uplink, which notoriously Splyce pretty good at.
Absolutely. You look at the numbers here for Splyce, their best game mode in group stages. Uplink, 83% win rate on this game mode. I believe they only dropped to 1 the entire weekend, and even that was a pretty close affair. Now, when you look at Frost in particular, I see huge issues here potentially for Evil Geniuses. If you look at the way they play, they like to use the ARs. They like to get into individual fights at times. On the other side, you got Splyce, who likes to be up in your face at all times using SMGs or just fast attacks. And on Frost, this is a map that plays perfectly for aggressive teams.
It really is. We saw how Bance changed it from Hardpoint, Search and Destroy, from K-Bar to ERAD. That's what he can do, okay? And don't get me wrong, the likes of Nagafen and Havoc, they can do exactly the same, but it's whether they can do it with the same aggression. And that's where I think it might be a little bit more difficult for someone like Nameless, who was, for me, probably the best player individually through weeks 1 to 4. And, going into, Uplink, so close quartered, it's very, very difficult to transition when you're such a solid K-Bar or MV4 player. So for me, I've got to hand this one to Splyce. Their win rate is 83%. I mean, even going back to the likes of Dallas and Atlanta for MLG, every time Splyce, their percentage win rate on Uplink was like 75%, 80%. And speaking to them afterwards, they always said, we need to work on our Uplink. I'm like, what? You're great at Uplink. And they said, no, we need to do better. And they clearly have worked on this a lot. Whether it's down to Jerd's one-point plays or just the slaying ability, we'll have to wait and see.
And I think this is a map where you can see Jerd shine. He's already shown what he can do with that ERAD on our Scorch map. Now he's going to show you what he can do with the drone in hand. One of the best at putting up those one-point plays. Over on the other side for Evil Geniuses, if you're looking for a guy to step up his game, is it anyone in particular, or is the whole team just feeling a little bit sluggish like we saw back in the group stages?
I feel like we've got to kind of put that as an anomaly for Havoc on the S&D. I don't think we're going to see another poor map from him. I want Studdy to come out firing. If he gets fired up, it's not only showing in his gameplay, he gets his whole team fired up out of the game.
Right.
And that is something you really need on a squad. When your teammates screaming and telling you how well you're doing, you're playing with some Super Saiyan confidence. Again, I'd say Studdy and Nameless. I'm worried for Nameless by his style of play on this map, but if he comes out with that K-Bar just laser-like, it could be bad news for Splyce.
EG's in the hole, but don't worry, guys. This is a double elimination tournament. To win it all, you're going to have to cruise through the winner's bracket and then take the champs, or you can always make it out of the loser's bracket, winning 2 best-of-5s in the grand finals. And we talked to Splyce about their chances of pulling off that and winning the championship here this weekend. Here's what they had to say.
After finishing second in Group Red, Splyce qualified for the CWL Global Pro League Stage 1 playoffs. Here is a look at how they can walk away as champions. Splyce dominated Uplink throughout group play, posting an incredible 83% win rate. They did not drop an Uplink map on Frost or Throwback, while winning 50% on Precinct. With Uplink occurring in the pivotal third map of each series, continued success in this game mode would go a long way towards them winning Stage 1. Splyce did not see the success that they had hoped for in Search and Destroy during the red group, posting just a 42% win rate. However, Bance was an absolute monster in S&D, contributing a group-leading 1.36 KD in the game mode. If he can continue that rate and his teammates can improve on theirs, Splyce will be extremely difficult to defeat. Despite Josh leaving and Zero coming aboard ahead of CWL Dallas, Splyce has been consistent throughout the year. The new look roster took 4th in Dallas, 2nd in Birmingham, and then a whopping 5-1 record in group play of the Global Pro League. They have the skill, experience, and confidence to win it all. Despite their consistency and high placings at events, Splyce has still not recorded a first place finish. They were swept twice by Epsilon in the CWL Birmingham Grand Finals, and they were also swept by Envious in the Pro League when they needed just one map to clinch first place for Group Red. If they can get to that final matchup once again, they have to stay focused and close things out.
Splyce is the #1 team in all of Europe, and it looks like they are definitely going to be a threat here in the bottom half of our bracket. They are one game away from closing out a clean sweep against Evil Geniuses here in our first round of the playoffs. As we take a look, Mad Cat is all smiles, joking around with the squad. He is going to be a star throughout this tournament. When it comes to Frost, though, I think you're going to be keeping your eyes on a few other players. We already hinted at Jerd. Who are you looking at coming into this game?
It's Bance and Zero. You know, I think Mad Cat is, you know, he's almost like the glue of the team right now. He's not, I don't feel he's going to be the one putting up, you know, some crazy kills, some flashy plays. But Bance and Zero, they need to be consistent in, you know, whatever they use. Whether it's an E-Rad or K-Bar, I suspect a lot of E-Rads will come down here. Those two, they've got to back Jerd up. He plays at such a fast pace, and they've got to keep up with him. You know, they can't let him go out on his lonesome and be 1v2 half the time. But I think they've been doing it well so far in Uplink, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Now, one of the coolest things I've seen, Phil, is that Splyce, they admitted we haven't had the ideal practice. You know, a lot of teams in Europe haven't been putting in the time leading up to this event, knowing that Splyce, of course, the only team here this weekend. But they did make a big change. Zero used to run the camo, and he made some questionable decisions in the past. Now, they've given that camo to Bance, and camo is going to be so crucial when it comes to Uplink. It's basically a guaranteed dunk if your team can get 2 or 3 defenders down.
Absolutely, and I think it's going to really benefit them. Bance is always the one more than likely leading in points, so we'll get that camo a little bit earlier. But off the break here, it's the man himself. Zero's picked up 2. He has the reactive armor this time, as we've talked about, but he does have support. He has that player. It's going to be Jerd, and usually he's the one popping them in for 2 points, but again, Splyce dominating the kill feed.
And Zero is working towards score streaks. Instead, he will be cut down by Study's E-Rad. So we do see multiple SMGs being pulled out by EG for the first time in this series. Vance looking for more in the middle of the map is going to be met by Havoc from EG, and now Splyce, with only 2 defenders up, are going to find all 4 members of EG surging forward.
Jerd finds him from behind, and he'll sweep in, pick up that drone, and more than likely try and get away with it very, very quickly, but not successfully, as Havoc, I believe, has picked that one up. This is good news for EG. They could maybe go for a 1-point play.
Absolutely. You have a lead blocker. You got the drone in Havoc's hand, and that one is off the wall and into the garbage can. 1:10 off the clock. Your score still 0-0. And Splyce here, they don't really need to even convert points. They're just trying to move this drone away from their opponents. And you see it's going to be 2 versus 3 as Zero, he's going to look for the gunfight. Bance is going to save his life against Nameless. They're buying time for Mad Cat and Jerd to get back into the action, and Zero is somehow still alive here on this side of the map.
I like the way Zero is just finding, you know, he's got a pink control. He's got a pink reticle on now as well, so he's definitely changing things up. But one thing that I will say as well about Splyce, they're starting this aggression. They don't concede many 1-point plays. They've scored one of their own. You've got to watch out for Zero. He's almost like that goalkeeper of the squad.
Nice dish there from Jerd. Goes to Mad Cat, who throws in the 1-point play. Didn't get greedy and try and force in a dunk. Instead, it's the simple score that gives them the advantage. 3 minutes still to go here in our first half. The middle of the map, highly contested as the drone resets. It's going to be Nagafen who falls as the last man up for EG. This should be Splyce back on the attack.
Okay, well, you see Splyce mainly rocking the SMGs. However, Zero is still using this K-bar, and it's working out for him right now. He's 8-4. Madcat and Zero doubling up in the middle as well. Ooh. But it's all about getting this drone forward, and one thing that I do think Splyce are very good at is capitalizing on when they know their opponents are down. They'll move this drone up as much as they can, and that's why we see Splyce sometimes win uplinks when being outslayed.
Now, all of Splyce was inside. EG, they're going to take this drone outside, so that means you need 2 big gunfights in these tight corridors. Havoc's going to get one on Bance, but Jerd and Zero are going to stop the push. So this is really just Havoc stalling out time. He's able to pick up one. Splyce will have the drone, and that's going to reset here any moment. The big fight's about to go down in the middle of the map. Actually, Jerd is not going to throw it off the map for the clear. He could actually turn this into points.
Yeah, Madcat's been backing him up the whole time and rocking the E-Rad as well. He's going for maybe a 1 or a 2-point play. You've seen that, a safe 1-point play, and I say safe because it's in the hands of Jerd. He doesn't miss very often, and he's going to double the lead for Splyce with only 90 seconds coming up on the clock.
And, I mean, it would have been perfect shots required from Nameless, but he could have stopped that score from Jerd as well. Jerd got kind of hung up in the window. Nameless missed some early bullets, and the points go through. So 94 seconds remain here. As you look at the numbers, I said Madcat probably not going to be the guy to watch. I was totally wrong. He puts up the first points. He leads the kills that help Jerd score the second. And he is at the top of the leaderboard, 14-8, while you have Zero just behind him at 12-8.
Yeah, he really is stepping it up, and it's great to see him do that with an E-Rad. He's always been notorious for his assault rifle-based play, but now he's changing the game. He's being that diverse player. Zero has the drone in his hands, and he has the teammates to support him as well, but not going to be that easy. The drone will go down and will be reset.
There you see nothing but yellow in the kill feed. Again, it's Madcat with the 2-piece. Only one defender in position, a second one coming off spawn, but this is a dunk, and Zero is gonna put it through. 4-0 in the first half. And arguably, this is one of the best starts to an uplink we have seen from Splyce. Evil Geniuses has not been anywhere near their uplink.
Yeah, the uplink has definitely been in favor of Splyce from the get-go here. We can see payloads coming available. Madcat's going to unlock it. Jerd is available, but cast your eyes to the bottom right. Mr. Zero here has a few score streaks available. They won't be coming in anytime soon, but they're going to try and get another 1 point. Not going to happen, but will Madcat be able to do something even better? We do see a 1-point play, Chris, go in. 15 seconds left. Splyce are dominating the first half.
Nagafen with a stronghold 1 versus 4. He was able to pick up 2 and then stops them, leaving it just to a 1-point play. So instead of 6-0 at the half, we should see this one 5-0 as you see the final kills coming through for Splyce. EG stuffed on every single attack. Splyce, they were able to take over the middle of the map, and then you saw just getting behind enemy lines. They often had EG staggered.
Yeah, the one thing I don't like from EG's gameplay there is we talk about Uplink and Frost. You have to control that sub-base. You have to control Robo, and they had none of it. They were trying to push around the outside. They were trying to go for long routes, and they weren't able to push in, get one wave of kills, and then go for a point. They were snubbed out at every possible time, and this is where I think Splyce will be different. On this side, Splyce, they'll try and control that internal area.
And you mentioned kind of the score streaks for Zero as we watch this game progress. Where do you want to use those, if at all? Of course, Splyce could be scoring already.
I mean, you've got to wait till something's outside. Just used his FTL as well. Score streaks aren't going to be huge on this map in particular because half of it, is inside. It really isn't, but it forces EG to push inside. They can dominate. They can really control the play.
And here comes all 4 members of Splyce. They lost Jerd at the very end, but what a hell of an attack. Now you see the Trinity Rockets coming down. That's 2 straight kills for Zero. He's looking for more. Havoc's gonna fall as Madcat finds Study. EG, we'll see you later. It's all Splyce all game long. 4 minutes to go, but this has been an absolute blowout.
It really has, and you know what? Splyce are actually pushing around the outside here, taking that long route. It's not going to work for them either. Havoc's going to close that one down as well. But I think, and I want to go back, that was a great utilization of the score streaks because they had full control of the internal area. They pushed them out. They had to be outside. Zero, being that heads-up player that he is, take control of it. Study with a nice 2-piece, but again, taken down. That drone doesn't go anywhere.
Madcat, he is going to have his payload available, but keep your eyes on Vance. Will he be able to get up to his camo? Not if he keeps blowing himself up with Scarabs. did injure his opponent, so Jerd trying to clean up the kill. Zero is going to find it, and there you have 3 more kills, all in favor of Splyce. 2 defenders up, and Havoc's going to get the first stop on Mad Cat. Zero changing up the position, though, is looking for the 1-point play. Instead, Nameless snatches it from the sky.
Yeah, nice play from Nameless in particular there. He not only held his ground, but he makes the kill as well. But it's whether it's too late, Puckett. 3 minutes left to go. I just think these ERADs, they're too much to handle for EG. It's too fast-paced.
We are seeing Nameless pull out another one. Study has been running it as well. Has Havoc pulled out his? He was using the K-bar last time I saw. Zero is going to find the kill with Jerd picking off Havoc. And Nameless is going to watch as Zero throws himself off the map. Here comes Splyce anyway, though. They only need 3, and they could get it done with a 2-point play. As I say it, Bance is coming off the back. Can he put this through? Yes, he can. Bance survives through all of the gunfire and makes this a 9-0 game. We're looking at double digits here in game 3.
We've seen Splyce win this map and mode whilst their team is negative. When you've got Zero going 24 and 15, Mad Cat dropping a 30 bomb, Jerd's positive too as well. It's not going to happen. Matt Pan's on a 5-kill streak as well. Like, this is more one-sided than the Search and Destroy.
That's right. You know, coming into today, Splyce was 2-0 on Frost, but they only had a .89 KD. Look at these numbers. Plus 10 from Zero. You got 30 and 18 out of Mad Cat. Jerd's positive. Everything is going well here as Bance just connects on 2 more players. Does take out a teammate, unfortunately, but this is total map control for Splyce. Just 1:45 seconds to go until this is officially over. A clean sweep.
It really was. Which team, which EG squad turns up today? Is it the day 1? Is it the day 2? Are we seeing a phenomenal Splyce, or are we just seeing EG have an off day?
Oh.
I just can't take any more right now. Is there 90 seconds still left to go in this game? Zero and Mad Cat have got their payloads. No one on EG, or is it? I was going to say even close, but Havoc and Nagafen are nearly there.
And now the payloads come out. Yeah, good luck going up against Zero here. Maven's getting fired up. I know Benson, he's a football fan. Jerd putting the moves down between 2 defenders. Here comes the camo. Just tally it all on. One player's going to stop Vance for a moment, but he has so much time left on the payload. He goes for the second attempt, and he goes through clean. 13-0. How many more can Splyce put on the board? It looks like Nagafen may give EG an opportunity. Will they get skunked here on Frost?
That's the question with 45 seconds. Are they even going to concede something? It doesn't look likely. Mad Cat has the overdrive. And just whilst we have the time, really, a lot of people said, you know, when people get that drone into the portal, why doesn't it count? Sometimes when the enemy is in that portal with you, it doesn't. You've got to be in there alone. So a little bit of a side note for you guys at hand. But Mad Cat and Jerd, they're just giving the fist to either side. Nagafen and Nameless goes down, and they're looking for number 15 here. Zero.
Zero gets around him, and he gets the 1-point toss up and through. 14-0. Evil Geniuses did not show up here on day number 1. They are going to have a very tough road through the losers bracket, but they're no strangers to that position. I don't think they wanted to start this way, though.
How different would it be if they took that hard point is my question. Would we have seen a different S&D? Would we have seen a different Uplink? Maybe, but it's all ifs and buts right now as Splyce. They clean it up 3-0, Puckett.
Mad Cat's so damn good, man. He may be the best player in Europe. I'm saying it right now. Everyone loves Bance. Zero gets tons of credit. But Mad Cat has always been a great, since I first started watching him back in Black Ops 2, he has been a rock star. And boy, did he have a hell of a series.
Absolutely. We talked about it before you asked me the question, who's the player to watch? We know Jerd's going to go off, and I go, you know, Bance, Zero, they have to keep up with Jerd. Mad Cat for me is that solid player which always performs, but to have a game like that, he's had off games. We saw at CWL Birmingham, he had a dreadful grand final, say it himself. But today, there's $500,000 on the line, Puckett, and he's here to take that away.
He's showing up for the big games right now, but on the floor, we have Maven ready. We got Zero ready for his interview.
Thank you, guys. All right, so, you know, we talked a little bit last night on Hot Mic. You said you guys hadn't got a lot of scrims in. You're maybe a little bit worried about that coming in, but when did the light switch on? Because you started very slow in the game on Hardpoint and then just started crushing from there. What changed?
I feel like our break-off was a bit... it's a new one that we tried out, and obviously it didn't work. It got countered dramatically. But once we got points on, I think it was P3 or P4, one of the two, that's when we came back and just stormed her.
Yeah, it was a beautiful comeback, Jared, with a nice two-piece to close out the game 1. Now, let's talk a bit about the search, because you guys steamrolled throughout that, obviously effectively trading, but what made you special in this? Because I know you struggled early with the team when you first joined. You were kind of carrying the search load, but I think altogether you guys look phenomenal there. What was working?
I feel like we just played together as a pack. Obviously, that's what we started off saying at the start of the game. That's what we was going to do. We kind of watched what they did back in S&D before against FaZe, I think it was, and we just knew they hit as a pack. Plus, I think our specialist change helped. I think me being kinetic now, like I was back in GFIN, kind of helps us out a lot.
Well, it looked good. It looked very, very good. Now, what's been one of your best modes throughout really the course of the year has been Uplink for this Splyce team. It seemed like everything went right, but you guys just blew the doors off them early on. What makes you such a special team in Uplink? Because that was fun to watch.
Well, week 1 when we came here, we had a very sloppy Uplink coming in from I-60 as well. I feel like we screwed ourselves over with that by playing like 8s and money 8s and stuff like that, which kind of screwed us over. So when we went back, we just worked on Uplink, and obviously it proved that it worked.
It certainly did. That was a 3-0 smashing. You take it there. You continue on in the winner's bracket. Thank you, buddy. Beautiful stuff. We'll see how you do the rest of the week. And for now, Ben and the boys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Maven. A fantastic start to the Stage 1 playoffs there for Splyce. A big victory, going to give them a ton of confidence. For Evil Geniuses, it looked like it was kind of the day 1 Evil Geniuses from groups, but we'll break down that series a little bit. We'll start, of course, with map number 1, the Hardpoint Scorch. It was a 250-223 victory for Splyce. But TB, you kind of brought this up. It was almost as if Evil Genius had lost before they even began.
A little bit, yeah. In this entire series, throughout the maps, they were always down in that SMG category, and that allowed Splyce to play so darn confident in those close quarters. But, you know, EG went off to that perfect start. They got that huge counter at that first hill in the beginning, and you really thought they were going to run away with it. But it was several plays that sort of led on throughout the game where you can see Splyce sort of gain their bearings and just sort of take control. I talk about that ERAD. You can see how fast Bance picks up those doubles in the hill, specifically at Lab, and this hill right here that we're seeing, Hangar. When you're able to pick up kills like that, what's an AR player going to do? Nothing.
Right, yeah, and what I tried to highlight when I was observing is EG started with 4 K-bars, and I think that's why they got that start. Like, it threw Splyce off. Splyce were like, okay, what is this? Like, why are they running 4 K-bars? Once they got their bearings, they pulled those E-Reds out, they just got man advantage in almost every situation, and they could not out-trade them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, EG had the start. They were playing really well, and then out of nowhere, Splyce was like, okay, we've had enough. We're going to go do what we do, and they just completely took over the game.
You can see it there. That final score, 250-227. One of the key points, I guess you could say, Aches, was the drill hill, though. That was something that you go back and you look at the group stages for EG. I mean, they were outscoring. I mean, yeah, we know why, but they were outscoring pretty heavily. And in this matchup, I mean, they lose a full 60 first, and then they only split in the second rotation. I mean, it just didn't go well. What went wrong for them?
I don't know. Splyce is just really good at that hill. That's what I tried to say before we got into that game, is Splyce just knows how to play drill hill. They keep control, and they keep those spawns almost every time. And anytime they get broke, they regroup so fast, and they're just able to just get that initial kill every time. And it's really impressive to watch. I tried to warn them about it, but Splyce just did what Splyce do.
And on Mars Hill, EG had 2 opportunities getting the spawns in Lab to take over that hill and get themselves some points, but they you know, they failed both times. You change that around, I think the game is a lot closer, and EG's possibly able to take that win.
Very true, and something you mentioned as well, Teep, towards the end was Nameless. He was the player that you said he has to have another MVP like Weekend, and was kind of
Since this roster is formed, why can't they play on day 1? They need to completely change up their sort of mentality going into it, in my opinion. I don't know if it's the warm-up. I don't know if it's the pregame talk. I don't know exactly what it is, but every single day, the day 1 they come in, they just put their backs against the wall, and now they have to play from behind in losers already.
Well, luckily for them, losers is, of course, going to be tomorrow, so they're probably going to go on a big losers bracket run, and we'll probably
we know the day 2 EG comes out a lot better, so.
Exactly. I mean, we'll move on. We'll talk a little bit about map number 2. It was a Search and Strike Crusher. It was a 6-1 victory for Splyce. Proof? I mean, what went wrong?
James Bond over there, man. We need him to get a few kills, help his teammate out.
It was a pretty un-Havoc-like performance, I guess you could say.
It was a Havoc show.
Yeah, Havoc is their S&D superstar, like Nameless is their Respawn superstar. You cannot have him dropping 0-7. That is detrimental to EG. They need him so badly in Search. And I mean, Splyce, they just every round that I watched when I was observing on the minimap, they were together as a unit. They were trading efficiently. They were never separating.
And that in the 2v1s, yeah.
Right, yeah, and that's why you saw that 6-1 scoreline. They just never threw away a round that was an easy win for them.
And you saw like rounds like that, Study was, you got the two pieces, but Splyce is so close together and ready to get those trades, there's just nothing that they could really do. Finally, EG picks up one with a huge double nade there from Study, but one thing we have to note on, I feel like the reason why Havoc did so bad, they need to have him play like Jerd plays for Splyce, in my opinion. Being that sort of freak, if you want to call him that, getting those first bloods, running that FTL, always initiating the trade. Obviously, when you initiate the trade, you get the number advantage first, and it makes the pressure, it takes the pressure off the rest of your teammates, right? Havoc was the one that was getting, you know, caught out, not necessarily early in rounds, but getting caught out in a lone position.
Is there anyone better with FTL than Jerd?
I don't think so.
See how he used it on the wall run? That was an instant reaction just to stay alive. Like, I don't think another player does that.
But yes, I agree. I mean, you got Havoc on your team. If you push with him and allow him to initiate and have a backup line behind him to support him, I think he's allowed to do a lot more with Force team.
And just one more thing. Havoc, going back to last year, one of the best SMG players, played on a bit of a higher sensitivity, so much pressure. Why don't I see him with an ERAD? I think that's a bit of a mistake. He's so good at putting pressure on. I teamed with him a little bit during the Pro League last year. So much pressure. I don't think they're getting that from him right now, and I think it's an issue for him.
Just to finish that up, I think EG this entire time has had a really bad issue with swapping weapons. Like, Nameless goes from MV4 to K-Bar, Havoc goes from ERAD to K-Bar, and it's just, it doesn't make sense for me. I feel like they're hurting themselves.
And to that point, you talk about map number 3, it was almost similar in terms of, you know, SMGs to assault rifles, etc. I mean,
exactly.
It was a blowout, right?
Jumping back to that point where he's saying Nameless was trying to find what he needed to do. First half, he was using a K-Bar, they took a deficit, and he went to the ERAD second half. They just got to figure out what they want to do, how they want to play together as a team, and see what works.
I mean, Splyce was 5-0 up at the half. The game finishes 14-0. I mean, why is Splyce so good? I mean, yeah, okay, EG underperformed, but I feel like for Splyce, you've got to give credit where credit is due.
I don't think there's anything crazy in this one. You can see the kill category right there. Mad Cat taking over, the ERADs in general just taking over. When you always have the drone, you can just play sort of keep away. You wait for that moment where EG overextends to a certain side of the map. You can take the drone to the opposite and go for those easy one-point attempts. Every time Splyce got a chance to score, they did, and got back to drone possession once again very quickly.
And like you said, they were 5-0 at the half, but that was the most convincing 5-0 I think I've ever seen, right? Like, they did not give EG a chance. They had full control of the map. They outplayed them completely in the entirety of the first half, and then it just turned into side 2 where EG was just like, okay, well, we're kind of beat. They're better than us. Like, and then they roll over, change things up, and then you see the 14-0 scoreline.
And I feel like the game goes a little bit differently if they make that first one when they had on that initial push to kind of give them the idea that, hey, we can win this.
Right.
But once they miss that one, it discourages them, and then Splyce goes, has to continue the train, the choo-choo train.
Well, very quick 3-0, dominating performance, what we expected from Splyce. I have to note, though, this map count, they're now perfect in Stage 1 on Scorch, perfect on Stage 1 on Frost. So, you know, they got those...
Splyce, keep it up.
Yeah, they got those maps, you know, early on in the series. The map count, or the map series are going to change up, obviously, later on. They are dominant on a lot of Respawn maps, but those are their perfect ones.
And something I want to say, I know we keep saying, like, okay, maybe EG isn't a day 1 team, maybe they'll turn out. It's not that double round robin group play anymore. It is a double elimination bracket. You are in losers round 1 now. Like, you don't have another mess up.
You don't have that opportunity,
Right.
And it's better teams on average here.
That's
like,
they're playing, what, the loser of United and E6, I believe. That's scary.
That's not going to be an easy game by any means. Of course, congratulations once again to Splyce, the 3-0 victory. But we should talk a little bit now about MLG Anaheim. It is a staple of Call of Duty esports. We love it. The crowd, the atmosphere, just the gameplay is always tier 1 when it comes to those Anaheim events. Of course, that's going to be June 16th to June 18th. $200,000 on the line. And, as I have you guys on the desk, I actually have, I have something for you guys. We have a little flashback. Little special.
Let's go down memory lane real quick, baby.
You guys may recognize this, the 2011
LVG, baby.
Anaheim Black Ops 1 trophy.
Can we take a minute? That was 6 years ago.
That's insane.
You guys are old now.
Just hold it once.
Hold it. Just give it to him. Home. Is this the replica? I didn't get this. Steve got this trophy.
Just take it. It's ours anyways. It's ours anyways.
Adam Apicella, this is mine now?
I may need that back, or I may potentially lose my job. But, oh, dearie me. A bit of a throwback there. And, you know, great to have you guys, of course, in the building helping out with all of the analysis stuff. Yes, Proof, you can take that one.
I know.
It's okay. It's okay. But, as we said, first game here for the weekend in the books now. Splyce with a really, really good result. I think they're going to feel very, very happy with that. And I guess the big question now is how much momentum will they be able to take from that victory? Will we potentially see them maybe in that winners bracket final? That could be a potential. But as I said, first game of the day here at the Call of Duty World League Stage 1 playoffs in the books. Europe's hopes and dreams were answered by Splyce as they swept EG in the first matchup of the day. However, up next on the main stage, MLG Atlanta champions E United. They're going toe-to-toe with arguably the best uplink team in the game, Enigma 6. Action continues after this.